Hey guys, Dustin with PPC Pros doing this video for my tour operator buddies out there in the world. If you're running an adventure company, you're a tour operator, you're a water sports operator, anything with fun and activities. I want to talk about Google Ads and some of the top areas that a lot of you guys can kind of get it wrong, where you could get a little bit more strategic and get a lot better results. So I did a very similar conversation with a group of tour operators that I would share here on the channel as well. And so I'm just going to recap some of what we covered and also let you know that we've got a resource for you available that makes all this a lot more actionable. So I'll share that with you in just a minute. But we're going to talk about today is unlocking more bookings and revenue with Google Ads. So this can be a huge channel for a lot of operators, especially if you're trying to get more direct bookings and less OTA bookings if you're using OTAs. So I want to cover some of the main areas you might get it wrong. We'll talk about strategic campaign setup, optimizing for conversions, and of course, avoiding pitfalls. I'm going to try to do this in the next, 5 to 6 minutes, cover the highlights and let you know where to go for more info. And so if we get into presentation mode here, that will make life a little easier. All right. That is one ugly presentation mode. That is not what I wanted. Okay. Presentation view. This is great. All right. So we're going to talk about now is first, we do have a DIY Google Ads training. So for those of you who are never going to hire an agency, you're too cheap to do it, you want to do it yourself, you don't trust us, I get it. No problem, no hard feelings, but we do have a course that you can get access to. There'll be a link in the description here. It's free, covers a lot of what we're about to talk about today and how to actually do it, what you need to consider, how to set up campaigns, how to optimize. Again, this is DIY, so it's not, you're up to doing all the work and you have to do your best to interpret what everything means, but we're going to walk you through a good setup and then some of the optimization. And we've spent last year about $4.5 million in our main account in Google Ads ad spend. We've got several accounts. We used to do a lot of white label. We still have some partners that spend a good amount too. So we've spent money on Google Ads. We know what works. It doesn't mean we're perfect. Doesn't mean we always, hit it out of the park or we have all the answers, but it means we've done it enough times, scraped our knees enough and got back up. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, because I feel like we've got a little bit of ability to say we know what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to start right off the bat and talk about some of the pitfalls. So guys, beware of Google recommendations. Google, if you don't know what you're doing, guys, these things can totally jack up your account. The DIY training that we have talks about how to set things up in a very specific way, but that will all be for naught if you start applying Google recommendations. They basically, I know they won't say it this way, it's a very oversimplified way to think about it, but in their mind, spending more and getting more traffic is how you have success, right? And in a lot of ways, that can be true if you're getting the right traffic and you're doing it in a way that makes sense, but their recommendations don't always do that. You can see over here, we've got some examples using display expansion, where Google is going to go after display traffic with your budget, removing redundant keywords, which is basically having keywords in the same match type. They feel like, oh, why do you have that? Let's just do broad match. Let's just do it, really, really wide and open. So most of the time that will hurt your account, especially if you have no idea what you're doing. So beware, do not just apply recommendations. They word them in a way that sounds very compelling and very good, but I'm telling you, this will totally jack up your account for almost every instance that you let them apply it. So that's number one. Let's go to the next page here. Campaign structure. So some of the campaigns we like to create are people they're basically in market searching for your particular experience or activity. So let's just say I'm doing dog sledding tours. If somebody is in your location, they don't have to be, but generally let's just say in your location, and they're searching for dog sled tours near me, dog sled tours in your city or location. Those are the kinds of people we want to go after. Then there's also people who are out of market. Maybe they're not in your location. They're in another part of the country, another part of the world, but they're researching tours in your location that way. We want to go after those people as well. It's the easiest to convert. It's your best traffic because they're looking for exactly what you have to offer, exactly where you offer it. Okay? We also want to have a remarketing campaign, especially for the people who are out of market, because it might take them a few months to make a decision, a few weeks, a few days. So you want to stay in front of that person the best you can with remarketing. And then a brand name campaign. This is where you're bidding on your own brand name. This is a little bit more optional, but if you are using any kind of online travel agencies, any type of OTAs at all, you definitely want to do this because they're going to be bidding on your brand most of the time. And so you want that traffic, you want to protect it. So we don't always do that. The brand campaign for everybody just depends. But a lot of times it's a pretty good idea. We also do not want to include display network in your search campaign. So another Google recommended setting is to use display with your search. We always set that separate, and we almost never do just plain display for clients anyway. So just a quick heads up. And then we don't use smart campaigns unless you just want to be super duper lazy. A lot of times smart campaigns could work, but it is super 50-50. Maybe it's like 30-70. You get a lot of display traffic sometimes. You get a lot of irrelevant traffic. There's very few things you can optimize for. There's certain kind of bid strategies you can't use. There's a lot of reasons to not do it, but if you're just going to be lazy and not want to do anything, you could test a smart campaign and maybe it'll be good enough, but you're not wasting a lot of time on it. So I'm not suggesting that's a good strategy at all. I'm just saying that might be the only time you would want to test it or consider it. So smart campaigns, not for the win. You want to track everything that you can. So one of the things we talk about is tracking your calls. If you're doing any kind of chats, definitely track bookings revenue if you can. Depends on what backend you use. In the training, we talk about setting it up with Fair Harbor. A lot of people use Fair Harbor, but you can do a very similar approach with most other booking platforms, just a little bit different with how they integrate with Google Ads. So we couldn't do a video for all of them, obviously, but we did one with Fair Harbor, and we could definitely try to help you out if you've got a specific booking backend that you have questions about. We want to track contact forms, especially if you do a lot of inquiries and quotes. You're not doing actual bookings, it's very custom or it's multi-day or whatever. Then you definitely want to track your contact forms, where people are coming from. A lot of people don't. Whenever we do audits for operators, most of the time they're either tracking nothing at all, or they're tracking like people visiting their website as a conversion. So that's really bad, because what happens is you're going to be giving Google bad data to optimize from a lot of times, because usually they're also using smart bidding. And so you're just giving Google either no data to make good decisions or too much bad data to make bad decisions. So tracking is so important because you want to know where your ROI is coming from. So just another thing to consider. Again, we talk a little about tracking in that free course. And then as far as your booking and tracking the revenue, that's dependent on the platform, like I mentioned before. Some of them don't give you the option to do any of that. It just depends on who you use. The big guys typically do, but it just depends. As far as how we want to focus and how we want to get the best bang for our buck, so I kind of already mentioned this before, but high intent keywords. People looking for your tour experience in your market. The example I use here, sightseeing tours in Paris. You want to get people looking for what you have to offer, so high intent, and do not use broad match keywords. There might be a place for this in the future, but we really don't use them. It's mainly because Google will go all over the world with your keyword search. Use a broad match keyword of something like sightseeing tours in Paris. You could end up with things to do in France. Like, that's the kind of traffic you might get. Again, is it completely irrelevant? No, but it's way higher up the funnel than what you're looking for. So we don't recommend broad match keywords at this point. Exact match keywords are typically the best ones. Phrase match could be helpful, definitely necessary for volume a lot of times, but Google's getting way more liberal with phrase match, and it could also match you for search terms you're not really interested in. So you got to be on top of your negative keywords. If you're not sure what all this means, again, the free course has this covered. It'll explain what they mean in a little bit more detail. I'm just trying to move pretty quick in this video. Ad copy. Try to use emotive copy. Try to use things that explain how people are going to feel after the experience, what they're going to experience. Try to convey the emotion that they're going to get from enjoying your experience and the time with you and with your company. You want to send people the most relevant page on your website, which means don't just take them to the home page. In some cases that might make sense, but it just depends on what they search, what options you have on your website that are available, which ones are set to convert better. And then there's this other little tip here about using the ad and preview tool if you want to see what competitors are searching for in your market. So basically you can put in your location, your keyword, and Google will show you what other ads are on the page. It's not perfect. It does change as competitors, change their strategy and what they're doing, and even just by search. But it gives you a good idea of what people might be saying out there. Of course, you can try doing a Google search yourself, but this is a much more accurate way of doing it. And that's why Google built the tool, plus to see if your ads are showing. What else do we got? Landing page optimization. This is where most of you guys get it really wrong, no offense, but you got to look at where people go. You can't just think because they clicked on your ad, they're going to buy. When they get to your landing page or your website, you got to make sure the pages are set to convert. So give them the information that they would need to make a decision. A lot of times this can be the biggest thing that you do that produces a result, meaning that you're only going to get your click costs so low. You're only going to get so many clicks. You're only going to get, such a high conversion rate. But the landing page, if you can move that number by 20, 30, 50%, and get a better conversion rate, you can see huge dividends in the form of revenue. Because now all the traffic coming to your website is just going to convert that much better. You're going to be able to make that much more revenue. The other thing is you want to make sure people have enough information and convenient ways to contact you, which means make it easy for them to reach out, to convert, maybe using an SMS-based chat. We'd love to do that. Having some ways that you can easily reply to them, auto replies, a little bit of technology can go a long way. You don't want people to have to force to call you or even worse, fill out a contact form, because that is the worst possible outcome for them. A lot of times they have to sit around and wait for a call back if you're not available. They fill out a form. It takes a while to get back to them. If you're really good on that and you're really quick, then that's awesome. But a lot of operators are not. So just be mindful of that. And then looking at your page on mobile, you have to make sure you have a good mobile experience because the majority of traffic is on mobile. So if you are a customer looking for your experience, go to your website. Can you see the images? Are they user-friendly? Do you see the headline? Is the buy button or the book button easy to find? Do you have to jump around to multiple pages to get what you want? Do you see reviews? Is the menu, the navigation, easy to use and easy to see? Does the page load quickly? Just go to your website as if you were a user in an incognito window and just see what they would see. And start with the pages that you're sending traffic to. Don't just go to the home page only, but if you're sending traffic to a category or a tour category or an individual product page, look at those pages as well. Don't just stick with the home page. Very, very important. And then smart bidding and automation. If you're going to use it, you got to make sure, like I said in the previous slide, your tracking is accurate. You don't want to use smart bidding, basically Google's AI with bad data. You're just going to send Google on a wild goose chase with your budget. You're not going to get the results that you want. So just be very, very careful. What we recommend is start manually bidding while you're getting this data, conversion data, after tracking is set up. Then give it 30 or maybe 60 days, depending on how much traffic you get, before you implement any kind of smart bidding. And you got to understand what the bid strategies mean. We recommend max conversions for most people because sometimes you're tracking online bookings. Sometimes it's a phone call that does not have revenue associated with it. And max conversions will typically account for both. Again, you have to test. This is not a one size fits all, but we find that that's probably the best bid strategy for most situations. And then there's the option to have a target CPA or not have one. And these things are also kind of fluid during season, out of season. So just be aware that if you're going to use smart bidding, don't use it right out of the gate and don't use it with bad data. You're going to really, really wish you didn't do that. So that's basically it. Those are some of the big areas that I think you guys can improve when you're looking at Google Ads and how it can be used. There's some of the areas I wanted to cover. Again, there's more detail in the free course. So check that out if you want to see how to do it yourself. I'm going to do some follow-up videos on each of these things, probably just to create some good content around them and dig in. If you have questions about it, leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching.